Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to episode 5 of the Midweek Mixup podcast. This week we're joined by two special guests. First of all, Gabi, SweetMicga.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm not bad at all. Of course, in different circumstances, you'd probably be getting ready for Gamescom and drinking it up with Daniel and Erwin and all of the rest of the
but I brought Gamescom to me.
Yeah, so we all brought Gamescom. Secondly, we have another special guest, of course, Daniel. We had to invite you along, of course, to ensure that the Gamescom vibes were steady on for Gabi here today. How are you doing today, brother?
Oh, fantastic. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all, no problem. What you been up to this week then? Anything good or just working?
Me or Daniel?
Both of you. Go for it.
I've been working a lot. We in hardware development, we have certain milestones that we have to pass, and they're kind of like gates. Like if you don't pass it, the program doesn't move forward. So we actually had one of those yesterday. I think I told you about this over IM, where I was like, "Hey, I can't do next week because I'm going to be crying." All week long trying to get stuff closed because it's always a mad sprint to kind of that checkpoint. So that happened yesterday. The program passed. It's actually a really good review. Probably because of all the work. Actually, not probably because of all the hard work that the team did leading up to it. So I have the best team on this program. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. And then after that, I crashed because I had been working nonstop for days and not sleeping.
Have you had much time to get any gaming in on the side, or has it just been far too busy?
No. Yeah, no gaming. I because I now work in my home office where obviously my gaming PC is, I every once in a while when I just need a brain break, I will load up WoW. I've been playing way too much World of Warcraft. Too much WoW. Way too much.
I always see Mike on WoW all the time.
Yeah, way. I've been playing way too much. So I'll load up that and do a couple dailies if I just need a break between like meetings in US time and meetings with China. But that's about it.
Yeah. Happy days. Well, it's again, as long as you're getting over it, and now are you able to sit down and relax for 5 minutes before your next kind of project, or?
Well, no, we're still mid-project. So this was just one of the mid. There's 6 in the development phase, 6 gate reviews in the development phase. So this was 4 of 6. Hold on. 4. This is 4. I can't write. Sometimes I don't count the last one because I'm not responsible for the first one and the last one. I'm not responsible for. Someone else is, but I have to support them. So I don't always count those, and then I lose. So this was 4 of 6 if I count the ones that I support.
Right. Okay. So getting there.
Getting there.
Happy days.
Daniel, what about you?
Yes. What have you been up to?
I want to know.
Is he there? Can you hear us, Daniel?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
What you been up to this week?
Oh, not much. Also a lot of work. But yeah, also good moments. I don't know if you noticed on Twitter, a fine female streamer, PMS Jordan, organized me the E3 2019 fear pin. And she's so crazy, she just bought it from eBay for $150 and is now sending it over to complete my Xbox collection.
Oh wow!
Sure. Yeah.
Oh wow!
I told you she don't need to do that and everything.
What did you do, sir?
Yeah, I just want nothing yet. But I already told her a big German treats package once she sent over the pin, but mind blowing because that pin is for months on eBay for $150, and she was always bantering me and said, "Yeah, but your collection is not complete." And then she just made her very first eBay account and then just bought straight ahead that pin. Crazy.
Wow,
That's a
Yep.
level of generosity, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
totally is.
That's nice.
And you have something planned to give already something back, Daniel?
No, just a
I
regular.
want to say something, but I'm not going to say where we're like.
Just the normal German treats, the original Haribo and all other stuff. You dirty mind.
They have good bratwurst in Germany.
I'm not sure if I may. Yeah.
Happy days, happy days.
Oh, dear me. Erwin, how are you been this week, brother? What you been up to?
Yeah, I've been working actually quite a lot because my holiday ended last week. So I'm picking up all the working stuff, calling a lot of customers if they want to buy our tomato seeds, being busy with that, and of course the family. We had some super hot period the last 1.5 week in the Netherlands, like 30 degrees. So I practically didn't do any gaming at all. Because my gaming room is upstairs, and I believe it was 40 degrees upstairs. So I was just trying to survive and trying to to rest a little bit. But I went to do some fishing again together with Barry. Fishing is a hobby that I just started again, and actually really nice, really relaxing. So yeah, just haven't picked up the normal life after a great relaxing holiday.
Sweet. And I'm guessing then after you've done that, maybe when it's cooled down a bit, you're going to be able to get some gaming in.
100%, because I'm starting to miss it a lot. So for sure, I'm gonna start again. And every time when I'm now upstairs working in my office upstairs, then I have my gaming chair next to me with my Fanatec wheel, and every time when I see it, it starts to eager again to do some racing again. So I cannot wait to start again. Yeah.
Brilliant. Shom, how you been this week? What you been up to?
Not much. Just again, like everybody else, working. Trying to get my head around Final Cut Pro. So that'll take a little bit of time, but it'll be all right. Other than that, getting into season 6 of Apex Legends.
Yeah, you're getting dug right in. I think you've surpassed anybody that we've played with on Apex so far. You've maxed out levels and everything, so I think I gave up on that a long time ago. Patcher, how you doing, brother? What you been up to this week?
Yeah, I'm doing great, thank you. Like everybody else, work. Got some busy days. The last few days from Monday off, so. And didn't play a lot of games, so yeah.
It's stark contrast to when we started lockdown and you sent us that video where everything was empty and you had nothing to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
complete opposite.
It is. So yeah, man, busy times right now. So
you managed to get any gaming in yourself, or?
Well, yeah, I like 2 weeks ago I got an EA access code from EA. They just gave it to me, so I've been trying out some games on the EA Access, and that's there are pretty good games on it. So yeah.
Which ones are you playing, Pat?
Right now I'm busy with UFC 3 because I like to play the UFC. So that's a pretty good game. And what did I think I played Zombie versus Plants as well.
Yeah,
did some games. Yeah, it's really fun to like this. Yeah, it is. So yeah, that's about it. And some PUBG, of course. Yeah, that's.
You never miss out on the PUBG.
The main game.
Yeah, never miss out on the PUBG. I think that was the easiest one, especially when I asked Sean to create that avatar for you the other day. It was you were the easiest one to create for. I was like, well, he's obviously going to have to be PUBG. No doubt about that.
Yeah, nice.
Really, big shout out to Sean Labrie for making those drawings, because they look super cool. I don't know if you have them. You can show them on screen for the people who didn't saw it yet.
Yeah, I should be able to.
There's one.
It's quite a. Let's have a look.
Because your picture was 1-on-1, huh?
Serious, it was really scared, like to see my picture and the avatar. I was like, oh my god, what? How is this possible? You know, it's crazy. I couldn't stop watching that avatar. Like I stared for hours to that picture. Yeah,
You have it on your phone? As
Yeah,
a web stream?
yeah, but I'm streaming with my phone right now, so.
Yes.
Oh, they're there. That's cool.
Shom, Splinter Cell, Patria, PUBG,
Wow.
That's crazy.
and Erwin, Forza.
Yes.
Oh, I remember seeing that. Yeah, that's really
Oh,
cool.
that's nice.
Yeah,
That's really
super
cool.
nice.
Well,
And especially it's nice which pictures which pictures you used and then how he made it. It's some really great work of Sean.
Oh yeah, most definitely,
Yeah.
most definitely. He's very quick. To be fair, I asked him to get it ready for the end of the month, and he just messaged us the other day. He was like, "I had a bit of time on my hands, so I completed it early." So I did not expect that. Just out of the blue, I was like, "Right, okay, well, looks like I'm giving you the presents early, boys."
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah, awesome. Oh.
Sweet. We'll get into some of the nitty gritty whilst we have Gabi around with us before she gets busy again with work. First of all, Gabi, if you don't mind us asking, this is a question straight from Shom. If possible, without breaking the NDA, how do you see the future of adaptive controllers? Of course, the first one was quite a big hit and has brought the accessibility in terms of price. And we know how expensive adaptive controllers and accessibility controllers were prior to Microsoft really helping develop that adaptive controller. Is there anything else that you'd kind of like to see with controllers going forward, or anything you can talk about kind of going into next generation with adaptive controllers? Or?
Well, I think the really cool thing that Xbox specifically has done beyond the adaptive controller is that forwards and backwards compatibility that was promised. And I think that with that and bringing that sort of into the next generation, like you don't have to buy a new piece of hardware. Like you get to use, no, it's that one. You can still use it. I'll figure out where and that is powerful to say, hey, yeah, see, I don't even have one of those mugs. I'm so jealous of that mug. So to kind of be able to use whatever you already have with the next gen and it's seamlessly compatible, that was a fantastic decision that was made by the Xbox team, a long time ago. As far as accessibility for Microsoft as a whole, like we've actually released a ton of accessibility products, and yeah, the adaptive controller was the most obvious and kind of got the biggest marketing campaign, and everybody knew about it, and it's wonderful and it's amazing to have for me, it's amazing to have a product that I led, be featured in a Super Bowl commercial. I never thought that would be something I could say. So that's incredible. But there has been a huge commitment from Microsoft on accessibility for a long time. If you look at things that we've done, like on Xbox, Narrator and Magnifier were both added to the OS a long time ago. They still keep getting stronger. They still keep getting better. Dark and light themes for visual contrast, high contrast themes have been added to the OS. There's a ton of software work that has gone in. You can look at the Gears 5 accessibility score on Can I Play That? So you can see all this emphasis. Yeah, the adaptive controller was like the big thing, but there's been an emphasis on accessibility for a long time. If you look at Microsoft larger, the accessibility features that are built into Windows have gotten better and better and better. There's auto captioning in PowerPoint, which doesn't sound it's cool. It doesn't sound like a great thing, but last year I had to give a presentation in Israel and I was able to speak in English and have the captions be in Hebrew. So it's not even just like people maybe who have hearing impairments. It can also be like I'm speaking in English and maybe someone doesn't have the strongest English, because my Hebrew sucks. Let me tell you, I can say nothing. So that is like that's accessibility too. When it's just like, hey, I'm an English speaker talking to an audience in that mostly speaks Hebrew. So there's that. And then Teams itself has auto captioning, which apparently my team members now really love, because as we sort of mentioned at the beginning, I said one of my goals for this podcast was to not swear, and I already broke that before we went live.
Go for it. We'll try.
That's how we know you. That's how we know you.
I know. So that's how you know me. So just imagine auto captioning in Teams. They actually star out the cuss words, and so now my team members laugh during normal meetings because it's almost a joke now where it's like, oh, Gabi stars. And I'm like, yeah, well, you've met me. So
here's a few more.
So that kind of accessibility continues to be a push. And every quarter, Microsoft as a whole is, oh no, we lost someone. Listen, I am distracted by shiny objects. You all know that about me too. So, Microsoft as a whole has a huge accessibility push. So it was never just about the adaptive controller. That was just the big thing. Yeah, so we just keep going more, and it's a huge emphasis. It's one of our core priorities. So,
yeah, no, that's to be fair. I think especially the adaptive controller. I had a chat on the other day on one of my podcasts that was discussing more kind of how to not only just stay positive with disabilities, but how to game with kind of disabilities and restrictions and things like that. His isn't just, again, not just looking at accessibility for the difficulty with his hands and his motor movements and things like that, but also difficulty. His sister's also got disabilities and learning difficulties. So it's finding kind of games and experiences for her on the Xbox and things like that are really fitting in. But it's a lot more welcoming than certain other platforms. And like say Microsoft, they seem to be doing a lot in terms of trying to involve a lot of people. So it's a positive that I've got out of it over recent weeks anyway, especially speaking to more people with different kind of disabilities or restrictions or anything like that.
And I think probably the most powerful thing that the adaptive controller did beyond just being an adaptive controller is that it brought the accessibility conversation even more to the forefront. And I think that's the biggest, longest lasting input. Yes, having an adaptive controller that you can game with is phenomenal, and it will ever be the thing I'm most proud of. But the fact that it brought that conversation about the importance of accessibility to the forefront, that's the impact.
Yeah, and it's absolutely shone through if you've especially over recent months where you've seen different software companies and game developers and things really pump in the accessibility options for games. I think it was The Last of Us 2 had unbelievable amounts of accessibility options.
That was impressive.
It's a shame that PlayStation doesn't support the adaptive controller, right? Because Nintendo does, or no?
You can hack it. As a Microsoft employee, I can't tell you to hack it. Technically, all systems are hackable.
Okay.
It's not available to use.
But on Nintendo, it's legal, right? You can just plug it in, or no? Also not. Okay, shit.
So it's just Xbox and PC.
Xbox, PC, Google Stadia supports it because a lot of people have that.
Is it something that you are working on to get it to the other platforms, or how is their response to it in general?
Some of those conversations are way above my pay grade. Listen, I know y'all think I'm special, which is lovely, and I love that, but I'm not. And you make me feel special. I'm not. So here's the tricky part about hardware. When you have a controller wirelessly connecting to a console or anything, there is a certain security protocol that it has to go through. And there's a lot of reasons for that security protocol, but one of the important ones for you as a consumer is that it's typically encrypted so that someone can't steal the data that you are passing between your console and controller. And if you think about it at a cursory level, you're just thinking, okay, so it's like D-pad, thumbstick, A-B, who cares? But if someone knew where you were starting, let's say that you're entering a password on the on-screen keyboard, and they knew where you started, because there is a default that Xbox and I think PlayStation starts with, and they can track how many times you go over left and right. They, in theory, with a wireless sniffer, could steal your password if there was no encryption, if there was no security, right?
Wow.
So because of that security feature, and every console is going to have their own unique proprietary security feature. Because of that, an accessory on Xbox can't work with PlayStation because we don't have their security chip.
Yeah.
And that is part of, like, so it's a really important protection feature, especially if you live in a city, you live in an apartment where there's people all over the place, and a sniffer is easy. You just sit outside your door. I live in the middle of nowhere, so it's fine for me. But I mean, technically, I have a neighbor way over there. So that is why it's difficult to have an Xbox controller working on a PlayStation, because this security protocol isn't compatible, and that's by design, and it's important. Does that help?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was your controller engineering lesson for the day. Let's see how more I can get in.
Thank you. Thank you. The next question we have there was, what is your first memory, your real memory of gaming? And was it obviously console? Was it PC? What's your first real memory of picking up and gaming?
This is how you age somebody, isn't it?
I know. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, so you sent this, and I was trying to think. I have a bunch that are sort of all combined into one. So I remember playing Duke Nukem 3D on my PC, which is funny because if my parents had known what that game was, I would have never played it. I remember playing, and I still love this game, and you can download it on the internet. It's lovely. It's a game called Super Solver's Midnight Rescue, and it is silly, and I loved it as a kid, and I don't know why, but I did. You played as a sleuth, and you were trying to hunt down robots, which I feel like I should have known. I was going to go into engineering based on that game. So that was also on the PC. On the console, my first console was an NES and a Genesis. I think that's the right one. And so I remember playing, Mario 1, Legend of Zelda, the first one, Echo the Dolphin. I like the one thing when you sent that question, the first thing that popped into my head was Echo the Dolphin, and I'm like,
yeah,
ooh.
it was the same for me. Echo the Dolphin every time. I don't know why.
And then obviously Sonic. So a lot of those games that kind of were there for the NES and you played. I know you didn't ask this, but I'm going to answer it anyway. But my favorite game growing up, beyond Legend of Zelda, because that's an obvious answer, was Secret of Mana.
Ah, yes. I've recently downloaded the remaster on PlayStation.
I have started the remaster on Steam so many times. Because the problem is, being in devices, I have to try different pieces of hardware in order to I have downloaded a game on Steam, started it on one laptop or desktop, and then ended up switching, and I keep losing my progress because I don't move my saves because I'm an idiot. It's fine.
I've fallen into the same trap. I keep starting games on different platforms and then forget which one I've got furthest on, and then end up having to start all the way back again and starting from. Oh god!
I did that recently with Pillars of Eternity. I started it on Steam, and then I was like, "Oh, I kind of want to play on Xbox," and I was like, "I'm not putting another 30 hours in to get where I was. I just need to find my seat somewhere." I'm not doing it.
Yeah, not starting that again. Nope. Exactly the same on Witcher for me. I've started Witcher about 3 times now, and I'm just
God.
Nope, not doing it again.
I've started Witcher twice. My husband has started Witcher 4 times, and I'm just honey, just he's like, I don't know where I left off. I was like, this is what spoilers on the internet are for. Just read them and you'll figure it out. You won't. Again.
Nope, starting from scratch. Yeah. Next
short.
Next we're kind of going into is the question about your previous role. So how did you find the change from your previous role within design labs and kind of help with adaptive controllers and things like that into the role that you're kind of carrying out now? Because we know you've moved away from kind of more the project work on kind of design labs and the controllers and hardware aspect, but more another route as far as we're aware anyway. But how do you find the change in the role that you're doing now?
That's a complicated question. So we're going to call this story time with Gabi, which if team members know is always really fun. So I actually found, we're going to go all the way to the back to the beginning. Yeah.
Okay.
Grab your beer. Okay. Story time with Gabi.
I need to get a new one. Shit.
Hurry, get a new one. Although mine is actually getting empty too. And I'm like, can I run downstairs fast enough? Okay. I wonder if I should wait for Erwin to get back because I don't want him to miss the beginning of the story. All right. So I actually kind of found the role on Xbox kind of by accident. Not really by accident, but sort of by accident. I had actually been in aerospace for a good portion of my career. By the way, I have a mechanical engineering background. If nobody knows that, I'm a mechanical engineer by background. I've been doing project and program management for double-digit years. I've lost count. And I was looking to get out of aerospace, and I really wanted to get into consumer electronics. And obviously, being in the Seattle area, Microsoft has a lot of openings. I actually started out as what Microsoft calls a vendor, which is kind of a contract position. It's not a direct employee. And I applied and interviewed for the job on a whim. I was like, there's no way they're going to hire me. I have no consumer electronics experience. I'm a mechanical engineer. Yes, I have a decent EE background. My concentration in my degree was robotics and mechatronics, so I know that piece. But there's no way they're going to hire me. But I was like, I might as well apply. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? And then I got an interview, and I found out, because the person who interviewed me is now a peer and a friend, and he told me that my enthusiasm and my drive is what got me the job. So go crazy, Gabi. And so that's how I started. I started just as a vendor, and I was helping with the first Xbox One controller. So I don't even have one near me, but the original that came out when the Xbox One launched. So that was mid-development. I came on. I was a support PM, and that's what I was doing. I was helping them get that out the door, because that was a hard launch. They were making a lot of changes. Both obviously physically, as you all know, going from 360 to Xbox One, but also under the hood, there were a lot of significant changes. So I helped with that. And then from there, they gave me the very first limited edition program to run kind of on my own. And this one, it's the Titanfall controller you see back there. That was actually my first solo program. So it was the very first limited edition. That's why it's in a place of privilege, because it's like, hey, that started it all. And from there, I for the most part, I led all the limited and special edition programs, as well as helping with other programs. I supported basically every controller program. And a few years in, I got converted, or year and a half in, I got converted to a full-time employee, which was awesome. It was kind of basically like a year and a half of a job interview. And from there, they started saying, well, what more can we do? Because we were growing the special and limited edition business. We recognized that people really wanted these custom controllers, and they really wanted these different designs to sort of express who they were. And so how do you take that to the next level? And so the concept of Xbox Design Lab, and we didn't obviously call it that then, but the concept of this custom controller came about. And it wasn't the first time it had come about. It had been investigated several years before, but we didn't have the supply chain support or ability to really execute it. And so it came about again in 2015, early 15, I think. It was like January of 2015, it came about again. And we said, hey, we really want to do this. Like, there's a lot of the trend is clearly going. People want to be able to express themselves with their devices and their clothing, but like just devices. It was coming more and more into devices. And so we put a lot of work into it. And to be honest, I got told no for a very long time. Because it was something we'd never done before. It was a huge infrastructure, supply chain, IT risk. It was going to take a lot of work. It was going to take a lot of investment. And I know Microsoft seems like a big company, but every group has their own budget that they can or cannot spend. Most of the time they can spend it. They just always have, there's more that they want to do. So we had to figure out how to do it. And yeah, I got, no, you're not moving forward. You know how I was telling you earlier, there's those six gates. The first one is like, hey, we have this idea. We want to look into it. And usually you can pass that one because it's like, okay, fine, go look into your idea. The second one is, hey, here's all what we're going to do. Give us money. I couldn't get past that one for a long time. And, but you said I can cuss on this.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right. So I just wouldn't take no for an answer because I am a stubborn, raging bitch. So I just wouldn't. So I just they kept saying no, and I kept saying, okay, what do I need to do to prove that we should move forward? And that I'd be given a thing to do. I'd go do that the next week. I'd be like, hey, let's move forward, and they'd be like, no, and I'd be like, okay, well, so do this for a really long time. And I'm pretty sure finally they just wanted me to go away.
Just do it.
Just like, okay, go away.
Yeah, you stop.
And so they let me sort of start, I think, with the impression that I wouldn't get very far.
Right.
But I recruited a great team. We had, I mean, there's this principle that kind of we have internally, and I think it's also externally, which is one Microsoft. And Xbox Design Lab really was one Microsoft. It had people from supply chain, IT, Microsoft Store, people that I had never worked with before. And honestly, like, I wish I knew where they were because they were phenomenal people. But we were able to recruit some of the most incredible team. And we kept getting no's, and we just kind of kept running towards the finish line. And by the time we had gotten far enough, they couldn't really stop us. And so we just were like, hey, we've got it. But it was a lot of fun. So that was Xbox Design Lab. Right as that was first wrapping up, the hackathon and I was deep in like figuring out Xbox Design Lab, because when I say it was a supply chain, logistical, IT like nightmare, I don't even know if you can actually imagine just how much went into that. And how just insane all that work was. We built an entire supply chain system from the ground up.
I can imagine slightly. I build custom controllers myself, and that's just a logistical nightmare in itself for just one person to get the parts together.
Yeah.
Let alone an entire company to get thousands upon millions of parts to interchange and build. And
try an automated process in a factory that doesn't know how to build one-offs. Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. But I was really deep in that. That shipped in 2016 for the first time. And as that was kind of in development, the first hack for the adaptive controller, or what became the adaptive controller, happened. Then the second hackathon, because we have hackathon every summer, that happened. And as I was wrapping up the first first Xbox Design Lab launch, they said, hey, we really want to turn this into a project. I had been close with the hackathon teams. I had been monitoring what they were doing, and it was really, really cool. And they said, hey, we want to turn this into the project. And actually, first, the adaptive controller actually was given to another PM, another program manager, and I was not happy about it. But it wasn't really quite going anywhere because it's a weird project and the requirements are hard and nobody really knew how to do it. And it wasn't something coming from the top down, just like Xbox Design Lab. It wasn't something coming from the top down. It was the bottom up with the employees saying like, hey, we need to do this thing. And then there was a slight reorg, which we have a lot, but there was like a shift in like, who's going to do what and how is this going to happen? And the adaptive controller program manager at the time was like, well, I'm not sure I can do all of this. And I said, I'll take it. Mine. I'll take it. I'll take it. And I sort of stole it. I didn't really get permission totally right away to take it. I just said, that's fine. I'll do it. And it kind of had been sitting there sort of a little stagnant. And I basically took it to that first or the second milestone really quickly. Basically, I figured if I could get it past that milestone, no one could take it from me after that.
Yeah.
You're learning a lot about Gabi today. So, and then from there, just like obviously the rest is sort of history. And so that was beyond. So limited edition controllers, Xbox Design Lab, and the adaptive controller. That's like Gabi's story in Xbox. And it's all controllers. Yes, I did a headset and I did a chat pad, so I did other programs as well. But it was really like all controllers. And at some point, I have touched basically every single Xbox One controller. But you have to realize, like, once you've done a controller development and you've done a lot of limited and special editions, and even the Xbox adaptive controller, it's a little repetitive, right? Kind of you do the same things over and over. And I got to the point, like, I'd done all this amazing stuff, and what I was able to ship and get done, and the teams that I was able to work with in Xbox were incredible, but I felt like I was stagnating. And stagnating both as a program manager, but also as a person. And to be honest, Xbox is, and I think this has come out, so Xbox is a hard place for a woman to be, and hardware is probably worse. And I needed something new. I needed to grow. I needed a healthy environment. I was stagnating. I was not where or who I wanted to be. And as much as my gamer heart loved being in Xbox and it was my dream job, I knew that from a career and a personal standpoint, I was going to start going downhill if I didn't do something to grow. And so I had the opportunity to move to a different group in Microsoft devices, because for a really long time, Xbox hardware was in the larger Microsoft devices organization, which also had Surface and HoloLens and PC accessories and all the amazing things that Microsoft shipped. So I had the incredible opportunity to move over to sort of the Surface side of the house, which is where I am now. Last year, I worked on a lot of Surface Pro things, some of the type covers that you saw come out, and I supported Surface Pro 7. And this year, I'm leading something else in the Surface world. So I get to lead a device, and I have all that growth, both personal and professional, that I wanted has happened and continues to happen. So leaving Xbox was painful, and that's why I told you the whole story, because like you can see the excitement I had in all these amazing projects that I got to lead. But it's a hard choice. It's hard to be like, hey, I have my dream job, but I need to grow as a human and in my career, and so I need to make a change.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a very, very long-winded answer to your question. Cheers. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, drink up.
Does that also mean that you're not going to Gamescom or E3 if there is going to be an E3 or a Gamescom ever?
I don't know what the future holds. I had planned this year to go to E3 kind of just as a fan, because I knew several people were coming, and I really wanted to go and see everybody. I knew Daniel was going to be there, so I was going to be there. For Gamescom, I love Cologne, so I may come back. I don't know. I honestly don't know. This year I was planning on being at both. But more as a fan and less of last year was sort of a transition for me. I went to Gamescom to support the Xbox adaptive controller and kind of the accessibility activities that we were trying to have happen in the Xbox booth, because I still end up being one of the few experts on the adaptive controller kind of in Microsoft, because I lived and breathed it for 18 months. Yeah. I've taken that thing apart more times than anybody else. I've built probably more on the line than anybody at Microsoft, because if I can't build it on the line, how can I expect someone else to build it? So I always, for controllers, the first thing I always just built the first controller in our first development build, because then I could be like, that didn't work. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what the future holds. Right now, I just don't leave the house.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But it's not a given anymore that you're gonna join those shows. But it's more on a personal, how do you say it, initiative that you go to the shows, and not so much a Microsoft or Xbox thing anymore.
Correct. I mean, I'm still a gamer.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Cool.
Are you somehow involved into the Surface headphone? Especially the Surface Headphone 2?
No, that is a different team. I mean, I have I have Surface headphones. I mean, like you can't tell, but like, I'm on brand. I'm always on brand. So no, that is not the team that I am specifically on. Although the way things kind of work, never say never. I know one of the dev leaders of that because it's my best friend's dad. Why did you have feedback? Because I'll just email him.
I just wonder because in the version 2, there's still no Xbox wireless connection available, and I'm still hoping to get it on the headphone because I think that would be just amazing for PC and Xbox at the same time.
It would be amazing. You're actually right. Something about Xbox Wireless. So Xbox Wireless was developed to have a huge amount of bandwidth, and it does. It does actually have a huge amount of bandwidth. It is when you really get into the nitty-gritty technical details of Xbox Wireless, it is a really well designed and defined wireless protocol. That also makes it difficult to deal with. And it makes it difficult, like you have to have custom chips, you have to have a lot of custom stuff in there. And that is hard when you're really trying to focus on a headset that is meant to support a PC. It's hard to kind of have spend that time and money when your value prop is like, I want to work well with a Surface device. So I hear you. You're right. It would be so cool to have a sexy wireless headset that has Xbox Wireless and Bluetooth, and it's just not something that is we have
yet.
Might be in there.
Yeah, I mean the controllers also have Bluetooth now and Xbox Wireless and.
Yeah, but that's a custom chip, and it's custom for the controller.
Okay.
Fair enough. I've seen quite
hardware
a few.
Is hard, y'all. Like, hardware is not easy. There's a reason things take 18 to 24 months. Stuff goes wrong, and especially when it's custom stuff, you can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna take this chip and put it here, because I wish it was that easy. God, that would make my life so much easier.
I trust in you, Gabi. I trust in you.
Just copy him. Just pick it up, put it down. There we go. Sorted. If only it was that easy.
Yeah. But I never knew if making a controller, well, like you explained in the beginning with that people can hack or see what you are doing. I never knew that was possible. There was so many work on a controller, It's really, really nice to hear something about things we don't think of. Well, I don't think of because I'm just playing games and not realizing what I'm holding in my hand, I'm
not going to throw it against the wall anymore because I know how much work went into it.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah. We could do a whole conversation around engineering and how difficult hardware can be, but it's a lot of work. It seems like such a simple device, and
exactly.
It is and it isn't. But to develop it and make it work, think about it. Those buttons that you are pressing have to survive millions of presses. That's not easy to design.
No.
It has to have quick latency. You don't want to see lag between your controller press and your that's hard. That is not easy. It has to have strong battery life, so it can't draw a lot of power. It has to be comfortable. You have to be able to use it for a long period of time. All of that, even just one of those is hard, and then you combine it all together. Hardware is hard, and I know I say that a lot, but I mean it, and I don't really mean it as a joke. I mean that it's deceptively difficult.
Oh.
But it was keep my life interesting.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, always some challenges.
Hey, Gabi, I actually got 2 questions in one, maybe.
Okay.
The first one is, did you work on the new Series X or controller? And what do you think about the leaks of all the controllers that we saw on the internet? Maybe you cannot say too much about it, but Yeah, I'm really wondering how you see such leaks in general. How is it possible? Because you are working on so much controllers in the past, like limited editions, and nothing get leaks. And now we are here, and the leaks are everywhere. I think that's kind of.
So yes, I did. Before I transitioned to my new role, I helped kick that off and sort of get it started and defined. Because again, brand new things take, sometimes year and a half, 2 years more of development. So because you have to get it right. We don't want to ship something that's not great. So there's a lot of testing, a lot of iteration, and most of the time when you will design something. You will have everything ready. You will go to your first build. You will think it's the greatest thing. And then all of your testing will fail. And it's rough because then you just do the whole thing over again. The adaptive controller, our first build, we thought we had a solid design. We thought we were so good. We were not. The things that broke the first time we built the adaptive controller is depressing. But we fixed it. So yes, I did help start that before I transitioned to my new role. Leaks in general are hard on the team. Because you have been working for so long, and you have to realize, like, even if you have a leak kind of towards launch time frame, you've been working on that for a year or more already. And you've put all this work, and you have a specific vision in your head of what this device is, and a lot of it's been talked about internally. Like, we always talk about kind of our go-to-market messaging and how we want to position this and the story that we want to tell, because a piece of hardware really is a story. It is. Yeah. There's a huge story behind it. And when it gets leaked, that story gets stolen from the team, and that can be really devastating, especially when you've been working for more than a year and all of a sudden there's just a picture that's out there and there's no story with it. And then people start saying things and you're like, well, that's all wrong. They make up the story, and you can't just go tell the story because you had a plan and you had a timing for it. And there's a reason for that timing for it. So any leak is devastating. I remember when the Xbox adaptive controller leaked, and even though the story that kind of got told around it wasn't totally wrong, it was still devastating to be like, we can't tell our story yet. Yeah. And so all this misinformation is out. And the biggest problem with that is that the misinformation sometimes sticks and you have to keep correcting it. And so there have been leaks on nearly every one of my programs because it happens. And that is, it's always sad because it's pretty devastating for the team because the story's been stolen from you.
Yeah. You don't have to. You don't drive the narrative, and that's a shame for a passion project, probably, especially with the launch of a new console. If that's taking away, that feels like somebody steals from you, right? Yeah. But it was crazy to see the leaks, and I never saw that somebody bought a controller that isn't even out yet. So. Through some website, eBay, or was it something like that, right? So it's a really crazy story in my eyes.
Honestly, I don't know all the stories because I ignore them because they're just, I can't. It really does hurt when as a developer, as an engineer, and as a program manager, you see that because it hurts because you're like, all this hard work. So I actually avoid them. So I honestly have no idea what you're talking about specifically.
And I know you probably cannot tell something about it as well. I can understand that also. But yeah, let me tell. I never saw something this before prior to any launch of something that, like the example that I gave, that somebody just bought a controller off the internet. Crazy, but yeah.
One of the new ones, which is very strange, but
yes,
from what we know, it was stolen from a store who had them shipped in ready for launch window, and then a few of them had got put on the internet for sale.
And for cheap also, like 40.
Which is just silly, but it's the like you say, the worst thing about that is the hardware that goes in, not only the controller, but the console that goes alongside it, because it kind of confirms everything you've been working on, and goes down the drain. Then the surprises kind of, at least for a few, that have seen these leaks, the surprise has been spoiled, or whatever you've done, all the hard work, instead of kind of being able to show it off yourself at launch, then it's taken away from you. And that's the thing. That little thing from yourself being able to show it off as the first person to show it off, it's removed from you, and that's the disappointing thing.
Yeah, it's rough.
Don't cry.
But that's also something.
Go on.
Okay, but that's also something which changed within the last, let's say, 10 to 12 months at Xbox. I mean, if you remember the E3 2018 or 2017, everything was nearly leaked ahead of the show. It was kind of boring, just a marked list to check or something. And now with a video game show on December, they were pretty transparent, and they pushed the Series X ahead and showed it. And they determined when and what they are showing. And also now with the monthly shows they did, they just brought pieces of news which were probably inevitable to be leaked soon or less. And so I guess, currently that kind of piece by piece release of information is the best way to work, especially during the Corona time, in my opinion.
I suppose it helps prevent against more leaks as well, when you've got a little dribbles of information every month, and instead of kind of holding everything back for one period and then potentially people trying to find things out. I think we've had a lot less leaks than we usually would, especially around this time of year. But it's I'm kind of thankful it's unfortunate from the hardware side. It hasn't actually been the physical in terms of a console that's been leaked specifically, or the shape or anything like that. But this time around, of course, being a controller, thankfully it's just a revision controller. But either way, it's still kind of some of the things that go behind it. It's just rough on the team, relatively rough. I would like to be in that position. Not a nice one. We'll kind of try to bring it back up to a little bit of a more of a positive vibe. What is one of your kind of most, over the years anyway, one of your kind of favorite business trips, and why?
So I remember you because I asked you to send me the questions ahead of time, because if there's anything you ask that I can't answer, I have to be like,
Just take a drink for every question you can't answer.
Well, but then I wouldn't be drinking. Okay. So there have actually been several. So I've been so lucky, honestly. I actually enjoy traveling to the factory in China. We have incredible factory teams. The people there are really, really amazing. They are smart. They are hardworking. And for me, it's been really great to sort of grow my family, because I think a family is more than just biological. So kind of grow that family. And now I feel like I have family that live in China, and there are people that will be part of my life forever. And there are people I care very deeply about, and being able to experience a different culture on a regular basis, or, well, I mean, not this year, but normally, is empowering. There were a lot of those, so I can't pick one out of 50 to do. So, other trips, there was a trip we took to the UK, sort of early on-ish in the Xbox adaptive controller timeframe, and we were going to visit people with disabilities who were part of our beta testing in their homes. And the reason that we chose to do this was we really didn't want to be Redmond centric, because it's easy to do kind of research around here, but there's a certain type of person that lives in this area. And you don't get a very diverse viewpoint. And we wanted a really diverse viewpoint on, is this controller actually meeting your needs, and what are we missing? And we had done different research around the United States, But again, that's still very US centric. So we were like, we need to get over to Europe. And the easiest one for us was in the UK, because Special Effect is in the UK, and they were able to refer us to a lot of people. So we drove, in 1 week, we drove all over the UK. We went from London to whatever the thing is down on the coast. I've already forget, not Bristol. It's something starting with a B. And then up to Manchester, and then up even further. And we were all over the UK. And that was a really fun week for a lot of reasons. One, none of us know how to drive on the other side of the car. So I had with me, it was me as the program manager, my user research. So I was also representing engineering, my user research lead, who is just a funny dude. And we also had a wireless specialist, because we wanted to understand the interactivity of our wireless protocol and Wi-Fi networks and how that is different than the US. And also in people, what equipment people have in their homes, if they have specific disabilities, and is there any wireless signal coming off of that, and is anything that we do going to interfere? The good news is no, there wasn't, but there was a lot of kind of research we were doing as just being part of people's in people's homes. So there were the three of us. We made the wireless lead drive. But he, you know, is, he's originally from Finland, so that's always fun. But again, doesn't know how to drive on the other side of the car. So that in itself there are videos of me laughing so hard I'm crying, because like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to die. And also, so that was the first one. And also, like, I was just with two fantastic team members who are also just really funny. And when you get to sort of do that chaotic traveling with team members, it's a bonding experience that you kind of never forget. And it's always amazing to create more of that family. But the most important was we got to go visit these people that I had been emailing with or talking to, actually in their homes, talk to them, see how they gamed, see how they couldn't game. And there is so much power and empowerment in being able to actually talk to your customers, see what they're doing, what they're not doing, especially for gamers with limited mobility, and figure out how we really could help them. And because they were joining the beta test team, we actually got to leave a very early prototype of the adaptive controller with them, which was also really awesome. And like, we got to visit Will on Twitter, Speedy Will. We got to visit him, which was just phenomenal. And so that probably is my favorite trip, because of the power of the trip, and also just the fact that I was pretty sure I was going to die for most of it. And then I also will say that the Gamescom in Cologne, where I finally got to meet Erwin and Daniel, was actually also really cool, because it was the first time I really got to, one, meet a bunch of people who actually cared who I was. And also that was the first time I really got to explore Cologne and learn about Kolsch, which I drank way too much of. And so it was so much fun. I feel like I keep shrinking. How am I getting shorter throughout this podcast? I got to sit up straight. Okay, we're trying this. Like, I should just stand.
The age is showing, yeah.
I know. Slowly creeping down as the podcast goes. All right, so those are my favorite trips.
It's a sinking shiver on. Oh man.
Jeez.
Oh God, Well, this is of course, mentioning Cologne, though, and obviously speaking about Gamescom there. Do you miss kind of with everything that's going on right now, kind of not only fan interaction, but I would imagine you're missing kind of more of the physical and face-to-face interaction of working with colleagues as opposed to just over cameras, and obviously then having the fan events like E3 and Gamescom. Is that something that you miss with everything that's going on?
I definitely do. It's funny. I have an outgoing personality, but I am an introvert. And so I do like working from home. There's a lot of power for me in being able to work from home. I get more done. I actually have a more balanced day. Because you have to realize, like, I start early in the morning and I'm working all the way till late at night. And a lot of it is like, because I work with people in a lot of different time zones. Like we have team members around the world. And so it just naturally hardware development, it's all day long. And I have found that working from home, for me, I can actually take a break in the middle of the day. Like y'all are part of my break. And it makes the day less draining. Because if I start at 8 in the morning and I have calls till 9 o'clock at night, like taking that break in the day is really powerful, and you can't do that in the office. So for me, this has worked out really well. But because just for me personally, but I do miss traveling, and I miss being able to talk to customers. I miss being able to do user research. I do miss E3 and Gamescom, because those are fun events. I miss getting to kind of hang out with everybody and drink beer flavored water. And although, we're doing it right now. So, I missed it so much. I literally hunted down, I was like, hey, I'm going to go find the actual import from Cologne.
How did you get it? Where did you get it?
So, Total Wine and More, which is probably a U.S. chain, but it is basically wine and more. They have a lot of stuff. I had been craving a certain type of wine that is actually hard to find just normally. And I know they have it. So I actually went on their site and I was like, I wonder if they deliver. Because it's as this has been lingering longer and longer in the United States, more and more places are doing delivery. And I found out that they have same day delivery, which is incredibly dangerous. But they have same day delivery. It's amazing and dangerous. And I was on there, I was like, oh, I should order some beer just so I have both, because I like both. And I was like, I haven't found a good Kolsch in a long time. And normally when I'm traveling, I can find one somewhere. And I was like, so I literally just put it in there. I was searching for Kolsch, and this popped up, and I was like, you're kidding! And so I added it, and then I got really excited, obviously. So that's how I found it. But I do miss that, and I do miss going to the factory, because if you can't physically be there when you're doing a development build, be on the line when stuff is going wrong, because stuff goes wrong all the time when you're developing something. When you can't physically be there, stuff just takes a lot longer, and it's so much harder, and it is painful to have to do everything remotely. And just the power of having everybody in one room trying to solve a difficult problem, and the diverse viewpoints of all sorts of different types of people. You kind of miss that when you can't all be at the factory, and you can't all go stand on the line and be like, why is this station not working?
Yeah.
You can't do it.
Yeah. It's instantaneous decisions, of course, instead of having to load up Teams and jump onto something and hope that they're at the desk and not having a toilet break or a coffee break or downstairs petting the dog. Or
and also just not being able to physically see what's happening.
Yeah.
On a production line.
Yeah, I can imagine that'd be very difficult. And how do they then, if obviously with that in mind, how do they then converse with you to let you know something has went wrong? And how do you then resolve it if you don't potentially quite understand what has went wrong in the first place, not being there?
A lot of time and a lot of meetings. It just takes 4 times longer than you want it to. We have an incredible team. We really do. Microsoft Devices is such an amazing team.
Yeah, I've noticed, especially the kind of rebirth of a lot of the Surface stuff. Specifically, when we're going into the handheld devices now, teaming up with Android to get them out instead of proprietary Windows operating systems now. Do you know anything about kind of what made them transition into bringing out the new Surface Mobile product with Android, or?
I have absolutely no idea. I think I mentioned before, that is way above my pay grade. Yeah. I do know that for a very long time, and Daniel, I think you had this. It was either you and Jez or both of you. There is an Android app that sort of turns it into a Windows phone. I'm sorry, I am an iPhone user, so my sincerest apologies for actually having no idea what it actually is. So there's something, and that has been out for a really long time. And so I would guess, but I have zero clue. I'm sorry, I'm useless.
No, that's all right. It was obviously there was quite a few people, especially Jez, as you mentioned, was quite upset when the Windows Phone kind of stopped being produced for a while. It was like, no.
I think he's still upset.
Yeah, I think he is. He's definitely still upset.
Going to be on his
Little-
grave.
Yeah, because of the lifestyles. I mean, I don't see where it's an issue, for example, with a Microsoft launcher on Android to put on those Windows lifestyles on the Android mobile. I'm using a
Yeah.
third-party app called Launcher 10, and there you have original Windows Phone tiles with lifestyles. I don't know how to manage Twitter or emails if I can't see who just emailed me or sent a Twitter notification with just having an orange dot on my lifestyle. Just annoying.
And there you have it.
Yeah. That's fair enough. Based on kind of the way Xbox have been doing things, especially kind of going into this generation, with the forwards and backwards compatibility and things like that. What's your thoughts on the way they're playing kind of the strategy this time around? From what you can tell, what do you make of it?
Yeah, I have no idea on what they think of the strategy. I love it. I think it's so consumer focused. As a consumer, I love it. It's so consumer focused. Everything I have will work. All the games I have will work. And with back compat games being in the hundreds and hundreds at this point, I love the consumer focus. Again, I have no idea what they do. Again, way above my pay grade. I'm just a lowly hardware engineer. But I, as an Xbox gamer and someone who's been an Xbox gamer for a very long time now, I love it. I love the consumer focus and the emphasis on customers being important.
Yeah, most definitely. I think it's especially it's being able to use anything that you've got straight on the Series X, but also again being able to play games wherever you want. It kind of makes it a little bit more streamlined. I think a lot of people are still kind of getting used to the idea that Xbox as a studio and Microsoft as a company aren't really bothered where you play, or if you want to buy the console, buy the console. If not, play it on the PC. Or now going forward, you can use xCloud. We don't want you to not invest in the Series X, but we also don't mind if you can't afford to. You can just pick up xCloud as long as you've got Ultimate and play away. Do what you want to do. It's like you say, it's extremely consumer friendly.
Yeah, it's also very accessible. Play where you want to play how you want to play. It's another part of that accessibility story. It really is. Like play where you want to play. It makes it accessible to a lot of people. Accessibility doesn't have to be just about people with disabilities. There's a lot of different aspects to accessibility.
Oh, 100%.
Play where you want to play.
Yeah. And to be fair, I do anyway.
So do I.
Whatever one. Yeah. You again mentioned before, World of Warcraft for as much as you can and whenever you can. It's there was a little, and I don't know whether or not that is a leak or anything like that. So that's all right. I keep doing the same thing.
There, okay, I think I lifted my chair.
A few weeks ago, I seen a little rumor, but again, this could be an absolute grain of salt that World of Warcraft could potentially be coming to Xbox at some point.
I saw that rumor too. That would be so cool. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't see the rumor. Someone told me. I don't remember who it was, but I think that's awesome. Listen, like again, people playing where they want to play. My dog has come to say hi. She's right down here. Let's see. You want to say hi, Els? Come here. No, come here.
Yeah, it was the Brazilian rating board which rated.
Where is the camera? There she is.
Hey! Doggy.
No, Els. Okay. Work from home. There's a dog.
Oh yes, it's one of the best things about it. Get stressed, you've got the dog. That's fine. De-stress.
So yeah, World of Warcraft would be awesome. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think eventually it'll be the first time it's ever been on a platform outside of PC. So I mean, if they can get it working. I've never fully played World of Warcraft myself, but I've seen some of the most cluttered screens ever when I've been watching live streams. It's just so much happening on screen. I've got no idea where to begin. And I couldn't possibly fathom how that could translate onto Xbox. Having like 34 screens on one time, just seeing the character in the background would be very strange. Have you been playing World of Warcraft since it originally came out then, or?
Not since vanilla, but I started in Burning Crusade, so I've been playing for off and on, not solid, off and on for 12 years, I guess.
Wow.
So
and yeah, I actually was World of Warcraft sober for a solid year until the virus hit and I was home all the time. I blame Rod. But yeah, I hadn't played for a very long time, and I finally came back and I was like, oh, this is fun. And I started doing like different stuff. What is my hair doing? Okay, it's fine. I started doing different because I had just had a priest, a panda priest for a long time, and she was my main, and I ditched her a little bit and was doing other stuff, and I think that's kind of what sucked me back in, and now I just played too much.
Does Rod just keep inviting you all the time now? Then is that what's happening?
No. He I blame him because he ditched us and moved to Blizzard.
Yes.
That's the only reason I actually blame him. He had nothing to do with it.
He doesn't just keep inviting you to games all the time. Just come on.
No, he doesn't invite me to games.
And also the other guy from Xbox moved there, right? What's his name? He's now the CEO or no?
I have no idea.
Mike Ibarra.
Oh.
No, just knows Rod because he's
Rod.
really to blame.
Rod is a cool guy and a sweetheart, so that's why I blame him.
I think has he teased anything to do with Diablo to you yet, or not?
No.
Diablo girl? No.
I love Diablo. I played the crap out of Diablo 3 for a very, very long time. That got an Xbox port, so it's possible.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I love Diablo. I haven't played it in a very long time though.
Same.
What did you think about Microsoft Dungeons?
Microsoft what?
Minecraft Dungeons. Sorry.
Minecraft Dungeons. Yeah. I haven't played it yet because I won't stop playing World of Warcraft. But I did play it at Gamescom last year, and it was incredible. And I really do want to play it. I just won't stop logging into WoW.
They improved a lot since Gamescom.
Yeah.
They improved really a lot.
I'm sure it's incredible. It's on my list. I have a long backlog list. I will play it.
Yep.
I will.
We've all got that one, yeah, trying to tick it off, but then it ends up going...
Follow up with me in a year.
And the rest. I never get through that list. Never. I will just keep adding to it every time. Just keep adding to that list.
Every sale.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Especially summer sale coming up now. That's the worst.
Yeah. I bought stuff on Steam I'll never play. It's fine. It was $2.
Yeah. And some of them don't even get installed. It's just, yeah, I'll have that.
Oh, yeah, no, they never get installed on anything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, nope, yep.
Looks good.
Do you think as well, obviously previously being part of kind of the teams that help bring design labs and special edition controllers and things like that, do you think with the new controller for Series X and potentially what other console might or might not release beside the Series X, do you foresee them making another Elite based on the newer features in the controller?
I have no idea.
You're not sure? Have you?
It's not that I'm not sure. I literally have no idea. At this point, I'm not part of that team anymore. All the stuff, for the most part, that I helped kick off has either been announced or has already shipped. So I have no idea. I wish I could tell you something. I literally have no idea what is on their roadmap.
Does they never come to you and ask for like tips or advice or anything like that? Is there anything?
Oh, they do all the time, but it's more like, what did you do here? And that doesn't mean what they're doing, because I did a lot when I was in Xbox. I was shipping a bunch of products and I had a bunch of stuff, and there was a lot of things that, because we didn't have the budget, it was manual or I just had to do it. The custom controllers that you would see at E3 and sometimes at Gamescom that were Xbox Design Lab controllers that were custom to that game, that was all a manual process. That was manual stuff I sent to the factory, manual orders, because the line wasn't built to do dozens of things. It was built to do one, and so everything was manual. And so there's a lot of times people come back and be like, hey, last E3 they were like, hey, we need custom controllers. Oh, well, what was the process for this? And they can't figure it out. It's finally, Gabi, what was the process for this? I was like, yeah, that was manual spreadsheets and BOM lookups, and that was me. Bill of materials, sorry, BOM, bill of materials. So like that was it. Was 100% manual, and they're like, "Oh, we don't have someone to do this. How did you do that?" And it's like, "Why do you think I've worked 80-hour weeks?"
Yeah. I'm guessing it was a much longer working week then. Did you help work on the Sea of Thieves controller as well?
Oh yeah, that shipped long before I. Yeah, that's the other one that's there. Maybe it's not a great angle. So my two favorite controllers, the first one being Titanfall, because that was the very first, and then Sea of Thieves was the other favorite limited edition.
I was going to say that's got a lot of work in it, especially with you've got the glow in the dark section. You've got all the different cut out laser etch parts. That's a lot in that.
Best looking controller, best looking limited edition controller in my eyes.
Yeah,
so much detail.
I agree.
The colors look so good. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
100%.
That one's my favorite.
Was that one of the longer ones to do then, in terms of limited editions, or?
We had it down to a science of kind of knowing, like, here's our schedule, here's what we need to do. So we had our schedule pretty set. That one, because Sea of Thieves was a brand new IP, it was a risk. It was like, hey, we're creating this on something that's brand new, nobody knows. How is this going to go? And so it was something kind of outside of what we necessarily normally did. So it definitely was something I was excited about. I was pushing it. I was so excited for Sea of Thieves from the very first time we had ever seen it. And I loved the imagery and all the artwork that the team at Rare really put into that game. I knew we could make an incredible limited edition controller off of it. So time-wise, it was the same. It was because our schedules are really well set for special and limited edition controllers. But for as far as like figuring out what we're going to do and telling everybody, no, this is the right move for us to take on. And then also, the glow in the dark, that's not easy. It's not easy. And being able to pull that off was definitely a challenge.
Difficult.
It looks simple, but it took a lot of work to kind of get that to work, and a lot of different iterations and a lot of failing, and then being like, well, let's try this. A lot of quick turn failure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was
well,
it also the first controller with the laser that was in, or was that the one with the Gears 4 controller, where you see all the scratches in the controller?
I think Gears 4 was the first time we did that kind of level of laser etching.
Yeah. Man, it looked incredible. First time I saw that, I was like, whoa, what is this? I never saw that on a controller unless I did it myself. When I threw it against the wall. But no, it was really something special. Yeah, but it turned out great also on the Sea of Thieves. Every time when I look at it when I'm upstairs, and that's the first because I have plenty controllers upstairs. But it's the first controller that caught my eye every time when I look at it. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it really stands out. I suppose for yourself, it's especially seeing how popular that controller has become, and how rare it's become. No pun intended. How rare that controller has become, but how popular it is among fans and everybody that's created it. That must be kind of a proud moment and rewarding for yourself as well, seeing how much everybody loves that controller.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the reaction to that controller was really phenomenal. I'm still so proud of that one and the fact that we got to do it.
Oh yeah, it really stands out. Like I say, between that one and the Gears controller, That's obviously one of the top twos for me.
Oh, yeah.
I never managed to get the Titanfall controller myself.
No.
It's probably on the list to get, but it's very difficult to find. Not many places have that. It's even second hand. It's going for quite a price because it is a fan favorite. It's a fan favorite. It's right up there, so it's quite hard to find. I would say and you kind of mentioned this, slightly touched on it before. You're playing World of Warcraft all the time. What is your all-time favorite video game?
Oof. I feel like the easy answer is Legend of Zelda. Like all of they're all good. There's not a bad one. So that one also has a lot of nostalgia, like playing Link to the Past over and over again. You know, when I was younger, there's a ton of nostalgia there. If we go sort of to more modern series, probably the Dragon Age series. I will forever be in love with Thetis, and I will play those games over and over again. A lot.
You're secretly hoping for a new one then?
Oh, of course. Well, they teased it. No, there's not hoping that there will be one. They teased it. And now I'm just like, and when they did that teaser trailer, I hyperventilated a little bit because I was like, oh my God. And then now they're making us wait, which hurts. But I do often, like, I actually avoid leaks and spoilers specifically because, not spoilers, but leaks because of my experience with leaks where I know it's painful that this leak has happened and now the team can't tell their story. So I actually don't know anything other than the teaser trailer they released, like almost 2 years ago now. And I hope that Dragon Age 4 comes out soon, but I will play it when it comes out and I will be happy when it comes out. But yeah, I do really enjoy World of Warcraft. Probably too much. And that's what I'm playing right now. But the minute Dragon Age comes out, like World of Warcraft won't get touched for months.
I was going to say, I feel slightly sorry as well. Are you going to be picking up Cyberpunk at launch, or? Difficult one to answer. I was going to say, I feel sorry for anybody that releases a game during Cyberpunk launch window.
I really want to like that game. I really want. This is a very personal opinion, actually. So this is not Gabi, the Microsoft employee, talking. This is Gabi, the gamer, and Gabi, the female gamer, talking. I really want to like that game. I think it's incredible. I think that CD Projekt Red has released some incredible games. I mean, obviously, Witcher 3 being one of them. I'm disappointed with how some of their social media has handled things. I'm disappointed with some of the messaging that's come across. I'm disappointed with some of their lack of diversity. It's been hard as a female gamer, and also knowing people who are in some of the marginalized communities to watch that, because it really does do, if it doesn't do damage and trauma to those people, it brings it up. And I guess I'm just disappointed that a studio that creates such beautiful things can do so much harm. So that one's hard for me because I really want to play the game and I really want to love it. But how can I give money to someone that I know has harmed myself and people that I know, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that one's hard.
Conflicting. So it'll be Assassin's Creed Valhalla instead then.
Oh, I'm playing that. Oh my God. Okay. I mean, that one's also hard too because of the whole, all the stories that came out against Ubisoft.
Yeah.
But in my defense, I pre-ordered the collector's edition of Valhalla before those stories came out, and I just didn't cancel it. But yeah, again, it's being a woman in engineering. I've dealt with a lot of really bad crap. A lot of it. And so some of these stories that come out, it reminds me of the trauma I've gone through. So it like there's a reason that they have like trigger warning at the beginning of the things, because when you read someone else's story, it triggers your own story and it's like you're reliving it. And I wish it wasn't the case, but being a female engineer can really, really suck. And if there's any female engineers watching, still go into it anyway, because it's amazing. But there's a lot of painful moments in my past. And it's hard for me to support a company that doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard.
I've got a few of the girls on from Ubisoft, actually, from a couple of the community managers, and unfortunately, both of them have had their own stories about previous roles within Ubisoft. Thankfully, they've moved on to better roles where they are appreciated more and not spoken to or treated the way they were treated in certain roles within Ubisoft. But again, it is still, those stories have come out, and it's all kind of come out in waves, especially over the last few weeks and months. But with those, again, it's going to have to be a top to bottom change, though, isn't it? It's going to have to be, because it's started at the very top, but you can guarantee there's individual managers and individual personnel that are making people's lives hell, top to bottom, and they need to kind of get shot of those people. So they might be extremely experienced, but sometimes you have to sacrifice if the ethics and the moral compass are completely out the window.
Yeah.
One of them things.
Yeah, I honestly, until those stories, I have always loved Ubisoft as a developer and a publisher. And again, it's that feeling of disappointment where there's a developer and a publisher that does some incredible work, and Ubisoft really does have and has had some really fantastic games. Like, I played the crap out of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I mean, hundreds of hours into that game, which is why I was so excited for Valhalla and why I pre-ordered it. So it's disappointing that you realize that has that culture, and I hope that they fix it, because I think that what you can see with a company like Microsoft, when you fix your culture, some incredible things happen, like Xbox Design Lab and the adaptive controller. Look at the culture of Microsoft. I think, everybody knows when Satya took over, it has really just been astronomically better.
100%. I've noticed more and more females in higher positions as well.
And just look at what Microsoft has done in the last 5 years. Like, it's incredible, and I cannot wait to see where we go. I really can't. It's not just me talking as an employee. It's me like, damn.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a massive improvement. I mean, 2013 was a very low point, really, for Microsoft. I think it was more the messaging than the product. The product wasn't specifically bad. It was just the messaging at launch, which really affected everybody. It was like, we want to do this, and then everyone was like, nope. And then Sony took advantage of that, and it went just really screwed up like in the beginning of the generation. But what we've seen in terms of recovery over the last 5 years has just been outstanding.
Totally different.
Yeah, outstanding. So hats off to all of you for that one. Before we kind of get onto the final few main questions on the list anyway, before we do just normal chatter, is there any exciting project that your team specifically at the moment is working on that you can speak about without really breaking the NDA?
Anything that's in progress, no.
No.
And yeah, I mean, no. I will say, so the Duo was announced last year, and then it was just, there's a release date and a price point now, which is fantastic. I love to see, I know how hard that team has worked on that, and I know all the work that's gone into it, and I think it's just awesome to see Microsoft devices going into that space. I love kind of the improvements to Windows that we got to see in the spring release. A lot of great accessibility improvements, a lot of great work from home improvements. I know the Teams team is doing some incredible stuff, just kind of bringing that, and obviously I'm in Teams every day, so I love seeing kind of the improvements that they continue to release. I love seeing what Xbox is working on, and all the excitement around the Series X, and kind of the embrace that everybody has had of, as you mentioned, like they went ahead and just told everybody what it was back in December and showed it off, and just kind of that embrace there. I love the Surface Spring lineup that we had with the Book 3 and the Go 2. What a great sort of juxtaposition where you have a super high performance device on one side and two sizes, and really, like, I've gotten to use a Book 3 because I mentioned earlier, like, I have to test stuff. Like, I've gotten to use a Book 3 and that thing is powerful. And then the portability and the affordability of the Go 2 on the other side. So, like, people have asked me like, oh, well, you know, should I get a Surface? And I was like, there's a Surface for everybody. And this is not an ad.
Yeah.
Like there really is. There's such a wide range, you know, the Go with the affordability, but still a really great device. And the Book being just this powerhouse. I know, and again, I know how hard those teams have worked to get to those spring launches in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, which was not easy.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I actually thought I'd hate the Surface earbuds, but I wear them all day. Like seriously, like I love them. I love them. I do. I didn't think I would, but I was able to get a pair and I wear them all day now for everything. So I'm just proud. I am so proud of what the Microsoft Devices team is doing and what Microsoft as a whole is doing. I have like up until the last several years, like I've worked for a lot of different companies. I was never like proud to work for a company. And for the last few years, I'm super proud. Like we're doing some really cool things and shipping some great hardware and our software is just getting better and better and better. So
I think on one front, especially on the hardware side, is it quite hard, especially on the PC kind of personal computer level, to keep up with the constant changing of the kind of CPUs, GPUs, all of the different kind of RAM specializations, all of the different versions of each CPU and things like that? Is it hard to kind of implement them and kind of keep up, as well as trying to then promote something that is within weeks potentially?
Who has a cat? Who has a cat?
You hear that?
I heard a cat. I want to see the cat. Hi! Mine ran out of the room. It is really hard because stuff is constantly, you know, it's why you're constantly working. Stuff is constantly changing and getting better. So more kitties. That cat is annoyed. Do I have? No, I don't have any cats in the room right now.
It's actually raining outside. She's pretty wet.
It's hard because you're basically constantly going, you know, you ship something, you do something more. You ship something, like it's hard.
Yeah,
it is, but it's fun.
I did for the Surface Pro 3's, well, the Surface Book 3 looks, again, spec-wise, it's just, like you say, it's an absolute powerhouse. With all of the new, because I know they built in the RTX 2080 GPUs into them. It's quite a high-end GPU.
I should know this and I don't. I'm sorry, I can't remember. Right. I thought it was, one of them was the 1060, one of them was...
Definitely 1080. But
I know you know what? I'm like looking in the pot. No, I'm sorry. I should know this and I don't. And if one of my peers watches this, I'm so sorry.
Will there likely be then a revision kind of throughout the Book 3's next year or two that will include higher specs based on the upcoming kind of cards and things like that? Or
I have no idea, but that sounds like a good idea. I don't know. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
What was your biggest challenge, Gabi, joining a new department, a new team? Because you were so fixed at the Xbox. What was your biggest challenge?
Learning. Kind of, it's even if it's the same organization, you know, it's all Microsoft devices. There's a slightly different culture. So kind of learning how they work, what they do, learning totally different devices. I mean, because like I wasn't on the Book 3 team, but for example, like Book 3 is very different than a controller and different than a console. So kind of learning, like, and last year I was working on a bunch of type covers. So like learning about a type cover and versus a controller. So kind of just learning and having the patience with myself and encouraging team members to have the patience with me, where they would be talking and I'd be like, hey, that looks like a Go type cover. And you just interrupting meetings and being like, hi, I'm sorry, I have a stupid question. You just did 4 acronyms back to back. What was that? Can we translate it to English? So just that was the hardest part, and kind of just being like, hey, I have to learn something new, and I have to give myself that time to learn and grow. Versus having the expectation of like, oh, I can just hit the ground running. Like, no, you kind of have to be humble and say, I have a lot to learn. Please teach me. And so I let myself have the time to do that, and I did that, and it's been great.
How did it come about then, changing from Xbox to Microsoft devices? How did that opportunity come to you and present itself?
Well, so at the time, this has since changed in the last year, but at the time, Xbox hardware was actually part of Microsoft devices, so it was all one organization.
Yeah.
I kind of, when the adaptive controller shipped, like my goal was to get that out the door, get that to ship. And I had recognized several months before that I needed a change. I had stagnated. I was not the person that I wanted to be. Because I believe, at least it's true for me, that when you stagnate, then your personality also goes to the negative aspect. And I was definitely there. And I knew that I just needed to make a change. And so I reached out to people that I knew and asked, hey, do you have any openings? Do you know of any openings? Do you know anybody over in these groups that are hiring? And I also just searched online through the careers website and said like, hey, and I reached out to the hiring managers and said, hey, can I talk to you about this role?
Fair one. And then it was pretty straightforward going from there. Or did you have quite some competition?
I'll never know what competition I had. They don't exactly tell you. I mean, no, I had to interview, you have to interview just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And so yeah, no, I had to interview, and I had to talk to people and say like, hey, I had to submit for the job and the tool just like everybody else. I mean, it's easy because they can look at my history and they can talk to people that I've worked with. So it's sometimes easier to transfer internally, but
yeah,
no, I had to apply for the job just like everybody.
Brilliant. I suppose the last main question then is the road to where you've come to now, where you're currently sitting in being a senior program manager for Microsoft devices. Looking back on where you've come from, is there anything that you would have done differently or would do differently if given the chance?
It's funny because I think a few years ago I would have said yes, but knowing that I've grown because of where I failed, and I know this sounds cliche, and I'm like, it's coming out of my mouth, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's like, I can hear it coming out of my mouth. But the problem with that is it's true.
Yeah.
If I hadn't failed where I failed or struggled where I struggled, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't have had that opportunity for growth. I wouldn't know that like how to handle a difficult situation constructively, because I would have never had to deal with the difficult situation really, really poorly. And so there are a lot of things that I look back and I'm like, well, I didn't do that right. Like, nope, sucked there. That was dumb. Or nope, bad decision, or handled that badly and really shouldn't have done it that way. But because I can look back and say that, I won't make the same mistake twice. I will make a new mistake.
Yeah.
And because of that, like, no, I don't think I'd want to take a different path. I took a really winding, really weird path, but I'm a stronger person for it. And I've dealt with a lot of crap, but I'm a stronger person for it. And I also now believe, and luckily I have had team members who have told me this, but I believe that I'm a stronger leader for it, and I'm a stronger program manager for it, and I can lead the team through difficult times because of it, constructively, lifting people up. Someone once told me that there's 2 ways to exert your strength. You can push people down or you can pull them up. And because of all the crap I've been through, I focus on pulling people up. I want to pull people up. I want to lift people up. And I do that in my program teams. I do it with the teams that I lead. And And I don't think I could be here now if I hadn't gone through crap or made the mistakes I made in the past.
Yeah. There's no better time really than a lockdown to show the type of leader you are. It's quite a difficult situation, isn't it? Specifically, are you one of those proactive ones that kind of check in on people as well, kind of on mobile and make sure they're all right?
Oh yeah, people who give me their cell phones always regret it because I text them all the time. Yeah. And we also have so many meetings throughout the day. Like I can check in with like team members. I can check in pretty regularly. And I also am always available to them so they can IM me. And even if I can't take a call, I'll be like, no, but like you can IM me or text me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And you found it, like you mentioned before, you found it is very difficult to kind of liaise with quite a few of your kind of team. In terms of the physical aspect of getting things done, is that much more difficult than it was if you were just in the office? I.e., you're doing a lot of work, like you mentioned, on things like spreadsheets and a lot of things on PowerPoint, or whatever it is that you're doing. A lot of that stuff is pretty straightforward for you. But in terms of getting information from one person to another, is that a lot more difficult at the moment, or?
No, like as far as like documents and PowerPoints and that kind of stuff, that's always really easy.
Yeah.
But if you have a piece of hardware and you need to debug it and figure out what's going on, that's harder because, if you have a failure somewhere and you have to figure out what's going on and you're the only person with it, then yeah, if you can't work collaboratively together, all looking over the same thing, it can be a challenge, but we figure it out. Like you find creative solutions, and that's what the team is doing.
Sweet, happy days. If I think my last question from me, I don't know what the boys might have a few more. Specifically, is if you could have a project in mind, much like you did with Design Labs, where you really pushed that one and you were really going at it regardless of the outcome, until they said yes. Is there something that is in your mind now where you think, I want to do this, I really want to do this, I really want to press for it? Is
yes,
there a project
but I can't tell you.
No? Is it still something you're fighting for? Yeah? It's like, yes. But there is something that you're really pushing for at the moment, but you can't say yet.
I feel like we started the conversation out by telling you that my nickname was Stubborn Raging Bitch. Self-appointed. Self-appointed nickname. So there's always something I'm fighting for. I'm just...
Yeah. Is it something big or something small? Or is it a big project?
I mean, that depends on your perspective.
It's not going to happen. You're not going to get your answer you're looking for.
Gabi, do you still have my pin I gifted you?
I do, and it's somewhere. So this, shot is framed really well. What you're not seeing is the mess that's over there. So it's in that pile. I was actually looking for it. Yeah. Well, I mean, I cleaned. I have it, and I know it's in my pin, my box of pins that I have. I just don't know where that box is.
Yeah, because it is related to your question. Because
it is. I know.
What was it? My best work is under NDA.
Yes, my best work is under NDA. That is true. Well, actually, so that's not true because I still think my best work is the Xbox Adaptive Controller, but and that's obviously no longer under NDA. But there is still a lot of work under NDA.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Do you think there's going to be a relative, obviously based on what you've already worked on for the adaptive controller? Do you think they're kind of going to continue to implement and potentially release a kind of a version 2 of it? I might improve on a few things based on feedback from some of the people. Or?
I don't know. I don't know. Hey, can I take like a 1-minute break? I think my dog got into something. And I need to make sure she doesn't eat something that she's not supposed to. So give me like 2 minutes. I'm so sorry. Give me just a minute.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
Oh.
How's everyone doing in chat this evening, guys? Is everyone good? We seem to have quite a few people here. Quite a few people that have dropped by today, so thank you everybody for joining.
I see
Says-
Sean.
Maybe some
Sean
people
is,
want to create some questions for Gabi.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody in chat wants to ask a question or so before we wrap it up, good. Maybe it's another 15 minutes or so, depending on how long we can keep Gabi for. I think we've kept it longer than anticipated anyway.
A long lunch break.
Yes, long lunch breaks.
Benefit
If anybody
worth
have a question, yeah. Wrap the beer up as well.
Hey, I see that Steve found a controller for you, Drew,
He did
on
did
eBay.
indeed.
Yes, for £36.
Well, that's the bidding at the moment.
Yes.
Bidding started at £36.
Oh. And he outbid you or no? Bastard.
I don't think we haven't got that far yet. 36. That's with 7 bids. And has
Yes.
3 days. 3 days left. Ouch.
False alarm. She was playing with the cat.
Okay.
Okay.
Not chewing the cat though.
My dogs.
I mean, the playing involves some chewing, but nobody's harmed.
Mine's
Mm.
Puppy.
no, she's actually.
Oh,
it's
someone
almost
asked a question I asked in 2017.
Which was
Is there any chance of getting an
There's-
Elite controller in a design lab?
I have no idea. Do you know how, like, just from a consumer standpoint, because actually this is kind of funny to me, like, that would be an expensive controller. Like
Yes,
the
it would.
Yeah, it
series,
would, yeah.
the Series 2, Elite controller is at how many euros is it? Like 180?
60 or something, 60, 80.
170, 180, yes.
So £160, so probably about 170, 180 euro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot. And then you add, like, customization and shipping on top of it. Like that's a lot of money.
Mhm.
I wouldn't spend that. That's like over $200. Like, I don't know, but like,
Yep.
just
Mhm.
that's a console that's on sale money.
Yeah.
Who would buy that?
People would, I reckon, though.
Yeah,
Not
you,
so
you
much.
actually got people that will buy it.
Scuff
like-
customers, yeah. Scuff
Yeah.
gaming, they can.
But you cannot make a business out of it. I mean, there are maybe a couple hundreds that do that, but you
Yeah.
cannot put your production line or everything else for that, right? Because it's quite niche. I mean,
That's a lot. That's a lot of money. It's just, I don't
it's not a
know.
good business model, right?
It doesn't sound like it. I don't actually know. But that would just be so expensive. That's kind of where I saw those suggestions and I'm like, but that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
On its own, it's already expensive. I still didn't
Yeah.
get one because it's so expensive. Also, and I just got a couple months before the Elite Series 2 was announced. I just got the white Elite 1, which is looking absolutely fabulous. So I didn't get your work, of course, but I didn't get the Series 2 yet, and I doubt I ever will because I'm still super happy with my Elite 1. The grips are still on, so no reason to change still. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not get it started.
That's a fun
No.
story.
But you
is that
you solved it. You solved it quite well on the Series 2, right?
Yeah, the mechanical team, the amazing mechanical team solved it. Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
Did you know potentially what went wrong with the grips on the Elite 1? You said it's a fun story. I'm guessing there's
I honestly, I don't really know. It's a really weird type of, like, from mechanical. Okay, as a mechanical engineer, it's a very interesting failure because it's a delamination of two plastics that are molded together. And that is the molding, the bonding experience chemically between those two, and how you can get that to a point where you break that chemical bond is fascinating. I still have no idea how. I'm
guessing
sure.
you can test it with Cheetos and sweat.
I mean, I guess so. Like high humidity and certain chemicals, and I know that our mechanical team knows. I just personally don't know. But it is just from a mechanical engineering standpoint, it is a fascinating failure because you have two different types of plastic that are physically molded together, and then you still break that physical chemical bond somehow. Like that's just fucking amazing.
Yeah, it was one of the controllers I had that I give to a friend, one of the elites. That it not only did the bonding come off, but then the entire size and shape changed of the grip. That was then so it couldn't even be put back onto the section, and I don't know how that managed to happen. It wasn't even the right shape or size to then fit back onto the actual part of the controller, which was really baffling to me. I was like, how is this now grown in size? It's just a bit of rubber. Why has it changed its complete dimension? It's weird.
Plastics are fun.
Is there anything that you would ask or I suppose anything that you could request from a fan standpoint that Xbox kind of or even Microsoft do going forward?
I've actually never thought about that. I don't know. I guess because I'm so often like executing. I would love to see. Okay, so the funny is, like, there's a lot of things I'd love to see, but my program manager brain knows how difficult they are. So immediately I'm like, no, we can't do that. I would love to see a larger and more diverse accessories ecosystem. Accessories recently have really focused on controllers, headsets, and that's kind of like where everything has been. And there used to be a lot more accessories around. You'd have like studio, and I know there's a lot for the PC, but like studio mics, cameras, all sorts of stuff. Like I'd love to see a more cohesive ecosystem. I'd love to see even more diversity in the controller space. So yeah, we have the adaptive controller, but what about a controller for children? And what about a controller for people with giant hands? This is not a problem I have, but it exists.
Just get the Duke controller.
I mean, so yeah, there is like Hyperkin has that incredible re-release of the Duke. So they do have that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel, as a fan, it doesn't feel like part of a cohesive ecosystem. So I'd love, so maybe some of it's just like messaging and some of it is, because there are some incredible design for Xbox controllers out there, but it just doesn't feel cohesive. And I don't know how to solve that. And I know from a PM brain, some of the other challenges as well, but I'd love, and other things that instead of just headsets, like, can there be like breakouts where like maybe there was the mic bar, maybe there's a sound bar, and maybe there's like all sorts of other stuff. Like, why does it have to be a headset? Because I can't. So I actually have kind of over here, I have like a Logitech headset that here's the camera, that I use for my PC, but I actually can't wear this anymore. I can't wear it with my glasses, so I have to put my contacts in, and sticking a hard piece of plastic in my eye is just not something I feel like doing anymore. And so I can't wear them with my glasses. And then if I wear them for too long, it like the pressure that it puts on my head gives me a headache. So why can't there be different like options for, and these are way better. These I can wear for a long time, but if my hair's wet, then I've ruined my hair. Like these are first world problems. It's fine.
Another feeling.
Yes. Yeah. See, you have an awesome hairdo. So I think from a fan standpoint, I would love to just see diversity in the ecosystem, a more holistic ecosystem, from the accessory standpoint, because there's so many different things. But I also know how and why that would be really difficult to implement.
Well, there's been that slight gap in the market since Kinect no longer has been. I'm not sure. Is it supported in the Series X? I'm not sure. I don't think it is it?
No. I have no idea. I don't think the Kinect for Xbox. Okay, so no, they're saying no. And I don't think Kinect for Xbox it can be purchased anymore. I know that there is a Kinect for Azure, which has a significant amount of the same technology because a lot of that team moved over, and you can use that to connect to like a PC. So a lot of the because Kinect actually, from an accessibility standpoint, the being able to do things with motion to like control your PC. And I know we had a lot of like when we were doing the adaptive controller, we had a lot of occupational therapists reach out to us and say like how important Kinect was. But I believe with Kinect for Azure, you can do all that with the PC.
Yeah.
But as far as gaming, I mean, I loved the Kinect, but
Is HoloLens also something that you are now more involved in, or no?
No, they are their own magical unicorn, and I have no idea what they do over there, or really sometimes how they do it. Like the technology behind HoloLens is really, really cool, and I am not special enough to be part of it.
Not yet. Not yet.
But yeah.
Or probably ever. I have no optical background. I don't think they'd ever want me.
No.
Yeah, it's just the more we've heard about it, but then the more I've seen the price tag on HoloLens so far.
I mean, because think about it. Like, I don't know that much about it, and I don't understand that much about it, but it is state of the art technology, and you pay for that. Like it's so cool what they're doing. I have no idea what they're actually doing, but the little bit that I do know, it's so cool.
Did you try it all?
I have not. I have not had a chance to try it. No. I know. I keep telling y'all, I'm not special.
You never know. You never know. People might have just been like, have a go. Go on.
No,
I think you are the only Microsoft employee that is thinking kills at the moment at US time lunchtime, or no? Yes.
I mean it's 2:00, so we're getting closer to. I did realize there was a little bit left in my beer, so I need to. I'm gonna those things. There's another one in the fridge downstairs that for my last 3 hours, I have so many conference calls for the rest of the day. Like I will be drinking.
Is something harder than cold? Sure. Is it just sticking with?
I don't know. I haven't decided. It is beer flavored water. I know. Yeah, I have calls till 9:00 at night. So,
do not envy that.
No.
I mean, well, technically, you're in a conference call, and it's like, what time is it? It's like
10 p.m.
It's late. That's late.
11 for Erwin and Patcher and Dan.
11 p.m. Yeah.
That's you're on a conference call.
Yes.
This is work.
Yeah.
I started work like 7:30 this morning, so yeah, I've been awake for a while now.
Yeah. See?
I started at 8:30 and I already had some Skype and some Microsoft Team calls today already. But this is something that you really enjoy, right?
Yes, it is.
The other thing is a necessary need. Yes. Yeah. Happy days.
Happy days.
Happy days. Yeah, man.
And how do you see yourself 5 years from now, Gabi?
I'm gonna take over the world. No, I mean,
You're gonna run for president?
No, God, no. Nobody wants that.
Not joining Kanye then, no.
No.
No, I want to keep. So seriously, I want to keep learning and growing. I love being a. How did I move over here? Where am I doing? Like I've shrunk. I'm moving. Well, I did. So to be fair, I had an email come in. I had to respond to before someone did something bad. So it happened. It happens. Life of a PM. So I want to keep learning and growing in my career. I want to keep kind of growing in the ranks of being a PM. Like I said, I love being a hardware PM. I love the challenge. It's something different every day. So I kind of see myself still doing this, but hopefully at a higher level. Maybe I will be special one day. And just kind of to keep being able to ship really awesome devices, whether it's for Surface or Xbox or, I mean, maybe HoloLens. They'll never take me, let's be honest. And that one I feel like I know. And just kind of being able to just ship these awesome devices that can make people's lives better, and continue to push accessibility in all of the things that Microsoft does, hardware especially, but even in the software standpoint, continuing to push that and emphasize the importance. Like, that's kind of just where I want to be. Keep doing what I'm doing, but grow and get better every year. And if I ever stagnate, make a change.
Oh.
I mean, you keep saying you're not special, but I mean, your legacy kind of defines you. Yeah, you keep saying that, but your legacy defines you, and one of the things that has really helped a lot of people is that adaptive controller.
Exactly.
Mainly bringing down, especially the price point that you managed to release that at, because I've seen the price points of adaptive and accessibility controllers before, and they were in the hundreds and thousands to get people set up.
Yeah.
I mean, fair. But to me, it was the privilege that I got to lead that program, and I know that it shipped when it did because I pushed. But I'm not the only person. Like, there were a few stubborn people.
Always a team effort.
And it honestly, it takes the team. Like, yes, I'm leading a program team, and I'm kind of guiding it, but they also have to do all the work. So I'm just one person.
Of course, but it's the legacy yourself and your team have left behind. That's a good legacy to have, to be fair.
All right, I did one thing right. Fine, I did one.
And Design Labs, come on, there's two.
Yeah, Xbox Design Lab. That one's still just awesome.
I bet it was more of a cheeky grin to Microsoft, then looking at them and going, "See, I told you it would be good.
Yeah.
I told you it would work."
Oh, the minute that we broke even, I might have walked into my GM's office and been like, "Mm-hmm."
With a big smile on your face, just.
You have any news today? You have any news today?
Oh, I knew when we broke even. I was like, "Oh, what's up?" I was right.
Oh God. Well, Gabi, I think we've kept you far too long tonight, but thank you so much for coming along. And I know
this was so much fun. I had so much fun.
Good.
Yeah.
And you've only, I think, was it only the 2 beers we managed to get you to drink throughout this conference?
No, this is still the same beer. I didn't go downstairs to get another beer. I know. Like, okay, next time we'll do engineering lessons with Gabi. Yeah. Which nobody will tune into, but I'll have fun.
We'll bring it. Let's see if we can find some more engineers. We'll have some just let you go.
All you need is me. I'm good.
Yes. We'll just go for it. Ask engineering questions. We'll do some research.
We'll do an adaptive controller teardown, and I can tell you all the things that went wrong.
We'll do that. Let's do that.
All right, this beer's almost empty.
No, thank you very much for coming along. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you along and listen to us batter you with questions that you might or might not be able to answer throughout the night.
I answered most of them.
You did. You answered probably 95%.
Good score.
No, but thank you again. And obviously, you've had the pleasure of seeing cats and dogs and multiple animals as well throughout your visit here.
Yes, this is fun. And I also got to hang out with Daniel and Erwin again, bringing back Gamescom a little bit. As close as we can get.
Yes,
as close as we can get.
Yep.
And he's just winding you up with that mug now, just to finish.
I know, that's just not fair. Not fair.
But no, thank you very much. Thank you again to the panel, Pat, Erwin, Daniel, and Shom for coming along as well, and obviously the questions that I had a big list on to ask you, and obviously the ones that we then improvised on throughout the show, and that you've had the decency there to answer as well for. But thank you very much. It'll be a pleasure again to get you back on again in the future and see what projects you've been working on that you might then be able to speak about. You never know.
Who knows?
You never know in the future. But no, thank you very much again for coming along, and I hope you've had a nice night. And same to everybody in chat. Thank you everybody for coming along and joining us for this, and obviously hope you enjoyed what we spoke about.
This was fun. Thank you so
It
much
was
for
a
having me.
Big
Yes.
pleasure, party people.
Yes,
It was really
it was
cool.
a big pleasure to meet you and know more about you. So yeah, I was
Brilliant.
pretty hyped for this podcast. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was too. I was too.
awesome. Good to hear.
Terrific. Well, everybody, you can join us again same time next week. We have actually an ex-Sony developer on next week, Chris Granell, who will be discussing a little bit more on the Sony side of the scale, which is very hard to find these days. There's not many people from Sony that like to speak to people. So, so we'll see. I know Chris is a very cool guy. He got a lot of flack last time from going on, I think it was Dealer Gaming's RDX podcast, being very open on kind of both sides, and he got a lot of flack from Sony fans for that. But he's a cool guy, so we'll look forward to that one next week. But same time again, 8 p.m. GMT, 9 p.m. Central Europe, 3 p.m. EST, and 12 midday for PDT. But thank you very much, and I hope you had a nice night, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. Bye, Gabi.
See you, man.
Yes, bye.
Bye, Michael.
Bye,
Bye, Michael.
Gabi.
Bye.
Say Michael.
I hate you, Erwin. It's fine.
Cheers.